All right, hey guys, this is Jeremy with Full of Sit Dog Training, and I just wanted to do a real quick video explaining why I use treats that are cut up the size that they are and the texture that they are, and why that's kind of important in dog training. Okay, so I did a video that I'm going to attach explaining kind of why treats are the size that they are. And I'm gonna go over a few treats that I use. So I felt like before that video I should explain, I should elaborate a little bit more on why it's important to use the size treats that we use. All right, so in training we want to get as many repetitions of a behavior as we can in a short amount of time as possible. We don't want a whole lot of distractions and time in between behaviors that the dog's not really doing anything. So giving the dog small treats allows the dog to eat them pretty rapidly. So instead of standing there for 10 or 15 seconds chewing on something to chew it up before they can swallow it, and then we can do another repetition, I'd rather give them something small and something soft, something they can take and chomp it a couple times and go ahead and swallow it, so we can get back to another repetition of whatever it is that we're wanting them to do. Okay, so another reason, and this is probably more important, is dogs don't think in one thing being a greater value than many things. Okay, they kind of think along the lines of a toddler, and by that I mean, if you hand a toddler a $5 bill and you pull out 3 $1 bills and you offer to make a trade with them, and you kind of cheat them a little bit, and you wave the 3 $1 bills in front of them and say, hey, I'll give you these 3 for that one, and they'll fall for it almost every time, right? Because one $5 bill, to them, they don't think in numerical value yet, so they just know they've got 1 green piece of paper and they're getting ready to trade it for 3 green pieces of paper, all right? And dogs are kind of the same way, okay? If I give a dog a huge chunk of steak, I have given that dog 1 reward. So if I take that same chunk of steak and I cut it up into a bunch of small pieces, let's say I cut it into 10 smaller pieces, now I can reward my dog 10 times with the same amount of food, okay? So that accomplishes a couple different things. That allows us to reward the dog more with the same amount of food, which also means we're gonna get more reps for the same amount of food. And that also means that the dog is not gonna get as full as fast, okay? So as dogs get full and training progresses, especially when we're using treats to train with, the fuller the dog gets, the less value those treats have, because the dog's getting full. This is just not going to mean as much to the dog when they get full. Okay, same thing with people. If I haven't eaten in 3 days and you give me an old dried out crusty hamburger patty that looks like it's been sitting on the grill for 3 days, I'm probably going to eat it. But if I just ate a big, huge T-bone steak cooked to perfection and had a salad with it and a nice big glass of wine, and then you come along and you offer me that same dried up shoe leather hamburger patty, no, sorry, I don't want it. I'm not hungry, and yeah, it just doesn't look appetizing. All right, so dogs are kind of the same way, right? So I wanted to touch on that and just cover that part of it. I kind of left that out in the video that I'm going to attach to this. So that's it. All right, get to work. Cut up treats, train dogs. Awesome. It's Jeremy with Full of Sit. I'm out. Bye. All right, everybody. This is Jeremy with Full of Sit, and I just wanted to make a quick video on treats. Okay, so we're going to cover what kind of treats I like to use, and how big the treats should be. All right, so let's get started. There are a couple treats that I use when I'm out buying treats. 2 of my favorites are the Origin cat treats, and I'll get into why I get the cat treats in just a second. And I like the Bill Jack Little Jacks, okay? I also like to use string cheese and hot dogs, okay? The reason I like string cheese and hot dogs is because they are the texture that dogs like. They're nice and soft and chewy. And I can cut them up into any size that I want. So I can make them bigger for big dogs, smaller for small dogs. Alright. So when we're talking about treats, size and texture and taste are all important to the dog. That's why when you buy training treats, you'll notice, like these Bill Jack treats, they are really small. Okay. So there we go. That's the size of the Bill Jack treats. And the texture, they're pretty soft. So they're whoop, that one stuck to my finger. So they're kind of the consistency of Play-Doh. They're very rich in flavor, so they have a lot of chicken liver in them. They're a little bit stinky, but dogs love them. Most dogs do. I've met a few that don't really care for them. All right. So when I'm buying treats, I also use the Orijen cat treats. And the reason I get the cat treats is because they are actually already cut up into these little tiny pieces that I need. So if you buy the Orijen dog treats, the Orijen treats are all these little chunks of freeze-dried meat, okay? When you get the dog treats, they are about the size of this chunk of hot dog here, okay? There's literally no difference in the ingredients, okay? So the ingredients in the Orijen dog treats and the Orijen cat treats are exactly the same. The only difference is when I buy the dog treats, they're big chunks like this piece of hot dog here. That's about the size that they are. So what I end up having to do is cut them up into smaller pieces. So I usually break them into 4s. So I have appropriate sized pieces to train with. So that takes up a little bit of my time. So I just go ahead and I buy the cat treats because they're already small like I like. Okay, so I like my treats small and chewy, and they should be something that the dog likes. Okay. If I'm using hot dogs, the way that I prep the hot dogs, I will actually quarter my hot dogs lengthwise, just like that. And then I'll flip them over again. And cut them in half again. Okay, so what I end up with are these 4 long hot dog spears here. So, let's get the Bill Jacks out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and move the Orijen cat treats out of the way too. Alright, so what I end up with are these 4 long hot dog spears. So I just gather them up and then I cut them into about 1/4 inch long sections. So what I end up with are treats that are, oops, I dropped one. Are treats that are about the right size for training. Okay, they're small, they're rubbery texture, nice and soft. Dogs can take them and just chomp them once or twice and swallow them on down. They don't have to spend 30 seconds chewing them up before they can swallow them. Okay, my string cheese, I actually do the same with. The only exception with the string cheese is that I will only cut it in half. So I don't quarter my string cheese just because it's not quite as fat as the hot dogs are. Okay? So I cut my string cheese in half, and then I do the same thing. I cut it into about 1/4 inch wide pieces. And this is what I'm kind of left with. So I can use these for training. These are the appropriate size for my dogs, so my bigger dogs. If I'm training a small dog like a Chihuahua or a Pomeranian or something, it's no big deal to go ahead and just break these in half as I'm handing them out. Okay, so that doesn't take any extra time really. Not like the crunchy dog treats. So I'm not a big fan of using like milk bones and the real hard jerky treats for training treats. The reason for that is I want a nice soft treat that the dog can take pretty quickly, chew it once or twice and swallow it on down. That way I can get another repetition in of whatever we're working on. So if I have a huge treat this big and it's hard and I give it to a dog, now I've got to wait on the dog to chew it up for 30 seconds or so before they swallow it, and that takes extra time. Now I got to wait on the dog before I can get another repetition of a sit or a down or whatever we happen to be working on. So with small soft treats, I can get more repetitions of a behavior in a short amount of time, and therefore the training takes place a little bit faster. It's a little more efficient. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these up because I'm going to be using them here shortly.